This is about my friend Dee Fragnoli, who she was my dog friend. It's like when I was younger, there were periods of times where I didn't have either. I had maybe one or for I maybe had a couple acquaintance friends, but I didn't have any close friends. Sometimes I had none. Sometimes I had one. A lot of that had to do with just being shy. Um, and Dee was somebody I met through through the dog showing stuff. It's like I met her. She was a member of a Golden West Obedience Club. One of the interesting things about Dee was the fact that she was she was probably in her 50s when I met her, and I was probably like you know um, probably in my like 26, 27, 28, somewhere in there. It's like when I first met her and stuff. Probably about 26. And she um, became a good friend. And the interesting thing, she was in her 50s when I met her, and it was interesting because like all of her friends were like young. They were all like in their 20s and stuff. And actually, in some ways, I was one of the older ones because a lot of them were like 22 years old. 20 years old, 22 years old. And basically, she had she worked I know she worked at Hill's Pet and Feed, which the building's still there. It's still a pet store. It's called Pet and Joy now. It's on the corner of Redondo Beach Boulevard and Vermont. And I know she worked for other pet stores in the past too. But it was just kind of interesting that it's like that was basically how she made her living. And so like usually a lot of the people, the other employees there were, which were basically usually a lot of young kids and stuff, they became friends with her and stuff. And she was it's like she it's like I took a number of trips with her, like to I would actually take her to dog shows and so on. I would take her to once we got to know each other, I would pick her up and with her and her dogs, and we go to like dog matches and stuff. She had poodles. She at one time she showed in conformation a lot, and she pretty much gotten away from conformation. It was probably before I knew her that she was in conformation, and she basically was into poodles, both standard and miniature. I don't know that she ever had any toy poodles. But she had one. Her standard poodle was named Kelly. I don't remember the name of her miniature poodle. She had two dogs at the time, and then at some point, I think that both of them passed away. She got another standard poodle and another miniature poodle, and I know the new standard poodle. She named him Elvis, and it's like Elvis was like she was a big fan of like Elvis and like John Wayne. And it's like, so whenever, lots of times, especially John Wayne, if I see John Wayne, it's like, I just got a book on John Wayne. It was, it's on sale, so I got it. And it's like, I see it, and I always think of her, because she was into John Wayne and Elvis. So, anyway, she competed, and I would take her to these places. And, I got to know her. It's like we'd hang out together once in a while, but mostly it was like dog stuff because we were just into dog stuff. And then we took at least a few trips, which I drove down to Mexico to compete in Mexico. And I remember going to Tijuana and also to Ensenada. Actually, it's Ensenada. And actually, I don't think it was Tijuana. It's like I think we competed in Ensenada and also in Mexicali, because I went to Mexicali at least twice. And I probably went several times to Ensenada. And we also met, some of the other people went down there too that we knew. And we just had a good time together. One of the things, it's like one of the things I remember about her, she was married. Like I remember telling me that she was married like 5 times. And at the time I knew her, she was not married. She'd been divorced, I guess, for some time. But she was married 5 times because she was popular with men. And let's see, she. It's like we went to places together. Like I remember New Year's Eve, there was some restaurant she liked a lot, and so we had reservations. Unfortunately, even though we had reservations, it took forever to get a table. And finally, she said something to somebody, and we got a table like right away. So, and it was me, her, and some of the other people that were like the young people that she worked with at Hills Pet and Feed. Went, and we had a good, I don't remember what year that was, but we had a good New Year's Eve. let's see, I'm trying to remember some other things. She also, uh, at one point, it's like I had two mobile homes. I ended up with two mobile homes down in Gardena at it was a place called Travelers Motor Inn at 13801 South Vermont in Gardena. And I think I had like space. Actually, the reason I had two is like I actually lived in one of them. And then when I left Cannes, it's like that. But before I left Cannes, there was a guy next door that we knew. His name was Roy. I'm surprised I remember his name. He actually sold me his trailer. I made payments on it because I was trying to come up with ways to make money and stuff. You know, it's like, hey, I can make money off of this. You know, I can rent it out and stuff. But yeah, at some point, she needed a place to stay, so I let her live in that one, and I didn't charge her any money. You know, it's like for like living there, she just had to pay the space rent. She had to keep up on the space rent. And actually, it's kind of funny because once I moved out to the valley. We did keep in touch, you know, for a while anyway. And unfortunately, I lost touch with her at some point, and so I don't know what happened to her. But she was it. Anyway, it's like we kept in touch there, and she, you know, I remember her having like a plumbing problem or something, and I would, you know, I just went ahead and fixed it and stuff, so because I knew she was on a tight budget, so. But she lived there for some time, and then at some point she moved out. She, you know, decided to move in with. I think she was there for several years, at least 4 years, I would say. And she moved in with somebody else, she renting a room and stuff, and so she did that. And at some point, unfortunately, I lost track of her. You know, it's like, and I know she had some kind of condition and stuff, so I know she probably passed away some years ago. It's like. So she went by Dee Fragnoli, and like she dropped the I on her name for some reason, but you know, so sometimes it was Fragnol, but it's like Fragnoli. And I noticed in the Golden West, in this Golden West Obedience Club, you know, newsletter, I ran across these recently going through a box. This is February 1990, and this is after I'd been married, got married. But anyway, her name is right there under membership director, Dee Fragnoli, along with the other people. And then my name's on there too, Susie Fishberg, because I changed my last name to Fishberg. And there was something else I wanted to tell you about her. She's, you know, it's like I just, you know, I feel bad that I lost track of her. That was easier to do back then because it's like, you know, usually if you have a cell phone, there were no cell phones back then, so it's like if I had a cell phone, we probably would have kept each other's cell phone numbers and stuff, but back then we didn't. And there's other people too that I lost track of that I was friends with and stuff, and we lost track of each other, and I never got, never, it's like found out. It's like fortunately with Facebook, one of the great things about Facebook is I've been able to find people that were old friends way back when, and locate them on Facebook. Like I found Lori Brown and Vera Sanchez, my friends from high school. I was able to reconnect with them because I had lost touch with them some years ago, back in the 90s. I lost track of them, so I was able to find both of them, and then we communicate now on Facebook. So I think it's like there was something else I was going to mention about her, but yeah, she was a good friend, and it's like, and I just wanted to do a tribute to her, and this is my tribute, and if I think of other things about her, I will bring it up.